The Eagles are searching for answers. But us fans, we're just searching for some good football. Phillies made a big move yesterday. We talked about it a little. We're going to talk about it a lot. He's coming home, Kyle Schwarber. Well, he never left. Trending in the AM, talking Phillies hot stove rumors, talking Eagles searching for answers. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, as always, every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. in the morning for 90-plus minutes of live sports talk, taking your thoughts and opinions. Guys, before we get started today, you must hit that like button. Whether you're watching this live or on replay later, hit like. It helps out. Hit subscribe. Helps this small channel grow, and share this out. And let everyone find this great morning show where we're talking Phillies and Eagles today, Sixers, Flyers, whatever else comes along. We talk it all here, guys. Only show where your opinions matter, guys. I'm Phil Stiefel. We got lots on the docket, as always. The fallout from the Eagles' Monday Night Football loss continues. The frustration and the arguments amongst the fans continues. Who to blame, who to point fingers at, the argument continues. And they're searching for answers, and I'm sure they are. But as I said in the cold open, I'm just searching for some good football. Like, legitly want to just know if they know what good football is. I even prematurely got my Festivus poll out this week. We're still 2 weeks away from Festivus for the rest of us. But I got a lot of grievances to air with a lot of people on the Philadelphia Eagles. So we're going to talk all about that. Absolutely, without a doubt. Then the Phillies yesterday, after the morning show ended, I did do a quick little Phillies hit and run talking about it yesterday, but the Phillies did sign Kyle Schwarber to a 5-year, $150 million deal. And that's where the poll question of the day comes into play. So after you like, you subscribe, you share, you vote on the live poll question. If you're watching on replay, poll question won't be up. Are you happy with the Phillies signing Kyle Schwarber to a 5-year contract? Absolutely. No. Yes, but wish it was 4 years. Who cares? Phillies suck. They're your 4 options. So far, there's already 3 out of 6 votes say who cares about the Phillies. But we'll talk about that today as well. Good morning, Mr. Robert. How you doing today? Phillip Rivers on the Colts practice squad officially today. I'm hyped to watch. I don't know who they play, but I just envision a defensive end just running and sacking him and breaking an arm off because the dude's old, brittle. Committing to Schwarbs, Harps needs to give up raw milk and hopefully not on the wrong side. Well, look, I don't know what's going on with Harper and that blood transfusion thingy. But committing to Kyle Schwarber is 100% just a 1,000% message to the fan base that we're running it back. That we would have won last year if it wasn't for the Dodgers in our way. The question is, the Dodgers are going to be in the way again this year. Is just running it back going to get you over the hump? JT Realmuto is supposedly got an offer on the table. We'll see if that gets locked up. But, man, the more things need to change, the more they stay the same with the Phillies. Rob Thomson given an extension, which I wasn't shocked about that. But, yeah, that as well happened yesterday. I heard the Mets offered Schwarber 3 years, $120 Did Kyle take a discount? Kyle took a yearly discount, but Kyle got $150 million in 5 years. So he went from $40 million a year to $30 million a year, but he gets $30 million overall more. Plus, he doesn't have to play in New York. Kyle Schwarber wanted this to be his last contract, and that's what it's basically setting up to be. Can't win friends with baseball. I can't win friends with you, period, can I? Frank Gonda was an NFL quarterback. Okay. Harp is off-season blood doping. He's doing something, and he's bragging about it, so he must feel that it is perfectly safe and legal. So, yeah. Tom Brady, 45. Look, I know. Phillip Rivers is only 44. Other guys have played longer. I know. Did any of those guys that you're mentioning take 5 years off in between their previous snaps, previous practices? No. That's the thing. Phillip Rivers has been sitting at home having more babies. What's he up to, 17 now? I'm not even being sarcastic. That's all I'm saying there. But anyway, on the Phillies situation with Kyle Schwarber, I don't want to come across as sounding that I'm not happy or excited that Kyle Schwarber is back. Kyle Schwarber is the leader of this team. Kyle Schwarber, runner-up MVP. Kyle Schwarber, worth, I guess to an extent, the $150 million. Really, he really truly is. My problem is that this Phillies team needed a change. And they're not making any changes. They're going to make some fringe changes around the edges and just run it back. And this will be the 5th year in a row of running it back. And I'd rather change for change's sake. I know change for change's sake doesn't always work. But something needed to change, and it didn't happen. And it doesn't look like it's happening. I will root Eagles, but you root grandfather old man Rivers. I can root for him if I want. I'm gonna enjoy watching him play. I think it's funny. I think it's comical. I think it's a great example of an organization fumbling the quarterback position. I have no feelings on Schwarber if they know how to build around it. You know, the other thing with the Schwarber deal that I think is interesting, and I think your comment leans to what I'm thinking a little bit about the deal. They're obviously not done. They're obviously going to make more moves. Is it going to be little fringe moves or a big, bold move? Okay. My question, giving Schwarber a 5-year, $150 million deal, bringing back JT, going and giving Rob Thomson the extension, which is whatever, not as big of a deal as I'll make it out to be. It means that they're still in win now mode, right? That they still think there's a window for this core group, a Schwarber, Harper, JT, Nola, Wheeler, to win a championship. To me, the Schwarber deal means that they still are in win now, and what that means is that they're going to probably swing for another big trade. They're not going to go probably free agent because they've already said that they don't want to go too much further ahead of their payroll from last year. But does this mean a Ketel Marte is on the table now? Does this mean one of those Japanese stars is on the table? Does it mean you go out and trade for Marte and give up on Painter or Miller? What are you going to get for Bohm or Stott or Marsh in the trade market? The signing of Schwarber preludes that something else big is going to happen, in my opinion. Slow few days in the NBA. Well, the NBA Cup series is going on, so the teams that aren't in the semifinals aren't playing. So, yeah. So the Orioles offered Schwarber the same amount, but he wanted to stay in Philly. Yeah, if anybody was going to woo Kyle Schwarber away from Philadelphia, it was going to have to be a massive offer. A much big. If we had 5 for 150, Baltimore had to do 5 for 175. It would have taken a significant amount of money to convince him to go. Defenses no longer respect Jalen Hurts. They stack the box and play shell coverage. They allow Jalen to run if he wants and throw intermediate routes knowing he can't do either. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. I'm not falling the trap of bashing Jalen Hurts today. Pump man drive-by lobbing grenades in the chat. I don't know if they're grenades. How much of Jalen Hurts' struggles Well, the Eagles' offense is Jalen. How much of it's the offensive line? How much of it's the play calling? Let me give it to you, the stats here on Jalen Hurts. When the Eagles ran on Monday night 66 plays. They ran 15 plays of those 66 under center. 10.2 yards per play, 16 yards per pass, no turnovers, 8.8 yards per run. In shotgun, 51 plays, 4.2 yards per play, 5.2 yards per pass, and all 4 interceptions came from shotgun, 2.2 yards per rush. So there's definitely a conversation. While Jalen Hurts has stunk lately, the Eagles' offense has stunk lately. The offensive game plan clearly isn't there still. They found things on Monday night that worked. It did not look awful the entire time. The problem is that they didn't stick to it. They didn't go back to it. I mean, we saw one drive where they went with Shipley and Barkley in the backfield. And they had a good drive. I don't know what the result of that drive was. And they never went back to it again. There was an execution of zone defense by another team that was as good their own in Super Bowl 59. Yeah. Hurts' thing is you can't contain him, and if you give him a run lane, you're ruined. How our defense is containing him. It's pretty hilarious watching your belief in Jalen Hurts deteriorate after each turnover. My belief in Jalen Hurts, the franchise quarterback of the Eagles, has not wavered at all. I can clearly admit I don't have blinders on like you. I can praise the good, and I can crush the bad. Jalen Hurts played like shit. Jalen Hurts is still my quarterback, and I'm not moving on from him. Both things can be true. I still have more faith in Jalen Hurts than anybody else on the roster, but any other option to take over. I have all the faith in him. And I put a poll out on Twitter yesterday. I don't even know what the results are. I haven't even looked at the results yet. Put out a poll on Twitter. This is not because neither are leaving and neither can go anywhere. And I wouldn't want to see either go anywhere yet. But if you could only pick one, Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni for the next 5 years, would you keep Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni? And this poll's got 92 votes on it so far on Twitter. Jalen Hurts is 77.2%. Nick Sirianni is 22.8%. And yes, that's how I would vote too. If I could only keep one, I would keep Jalen Hurts because you can't always find a winning quarterback. They don't just grow on trees. The corner's got depth. Derwin James was great. Hand is still good. Derwin James played a big factor in the game. Hurts is only slightly above average passer, maybe a tad better, than Allen. But like Allen, he will beat you with run. He doesn't actually run that much. You cringed after each, almost as if you were getting attacked. Okay, I know. It was a frustrating, because you know what it is, Pump Man? With all due respect. Yes, us Jalenites will go down with the ship. But you Jalen haters were just silent as a mouse. For how long? Waiting for games like that. And then you pop out. You come out of the woodwork. Okay? You saw a little light. You smelled a little food. You smelled a little blood in the water. And you came out. And it was a frustrating game. Okay? It was. But I'm not changing my opinion on him. Blind faith. I don't have blind faith. I don't. I see things black and white, very, very down the middle. They took him out of his comfort zone, which needed to be done for the greater good. Phil's faith is Hurts has only strengthened, ironclad. It's like the Iron Claw. It's unbreakable, okay? I see a Jalen Hurts at every high school football game, same style. Right, okay. And those Jalen Hurts won't go anywhere near. Those high school kids won't even sniff anywhere near football. NFL football, that is. They won't. Jalen Hurts didn't get to the NFL by accident. Jalen Hurts wasn't a second-round pick by accident. Jalen Hurts didn't win the Super Bowl MVP That should have gone to the defense by accident. Jalen Hurts wasn't a candidate for NFL MVP by accident. These things don't happen by accident. There's a lot wrong with this Eagles team. Jalen Hurts has been shit, not just on Monday, but for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Yes. There's dysfunction on this offense. No doubt about it. But there's zero chance, literally zero chance, that you fix any of it by moving on from Jalen Hurts. Hell, even Nick Sirianni at this point. And now, if it hasn't happened yet, you're not even seeing a change of play caller. It's not happening. We are stuck with this version of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're stuck with this, the defense has got to carry us version of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're stuck with this version that easily could also, like that, wake up and drop 40 on the Raiders this week. Then everything will be sunshine and rainbows. Not really. We have yet seen this Eagles team play a full 60 minutes of football. We have yet seen this offense put together competent drives back to back to back yet this year. We probably won't. The old adage, you are who you are. This is who the Eagles are this year. The constant talk of identity and lack of identity. The Eagles' offense does have an identity. Their identity is that they're just really average as a unit. Some just crave validation for whatever reason. Lurkers seemingly wanting to control. Could you imagine if anyone actually let things speak for themselves? Look, this Eagles team, they're 8-5. They've lost 3 in a row. Yes. But they're still 8-5. They still control their own destiny. They still, with one win basically, win the division and get a home playoff game. And then you get to the playoffs, who knows? If you get this offensive line healthy, who knows? We've seen crazier things happen, right? We're acting like the Eagles had a last place record schedule. We're acting like the Eagles had this cakewalk season and they're blowing it. This has been arguably one of the most difficult seasons. MFs act like Jalen is the first quarterback to go through a slump. You know what? He is the first Eagles quarterback to get 2 Super Bowls. Fasten your seatbelt. The ride always comes with bumps and bruises. Absolutely, Bakwa. And look, do I think the Eagles are going to go back to the Super Bowl now? I hope so. But they're not playing like it. I'm not going to be blind to what I'm saying. But you know what? I'll take a Super Bowl appearance followed up by losing in the first round of the playoffs, followed by a Super Bowl appearance, followed by a first round exit again. I'll take that every weekend Sunday. I'll take the Eagles' track record of ups and downs, as long as those ups are Super Bowls, all day long. The future of the Eagles is still perfectly fine. The Super Bowl window, the dynasty window, has not closed because of 3 games. Yeah, it don't look good. Yeah, it might not have the happy ending we wanted this year. But, man, anybody that suggests moving off of Jalen Hurts at this point, after everything we've seen from him over the last 4.5 years, they've got the blinders on. They're not willing to see the big picture. They're only looking at, hey, it's finally time to pull out these Jalen Hurts hater cards. Geno Smith, Pete Carroll coming. Let them come. Geno Smith might not even playing. It's going to be the Kenny Pickett revenge game. Guys, there's 15 people up. We're up to 15 finally. We've only got 7 likes. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, guys. Please, it's free to do. No back-to-back home games. We've had 2 Thursday games, a Friday game. We got a Saturday day game coming up this year. Multiple Monday nights. Hell, what do we have, like 2 1 o'clock games on Sunday this year? Like, our schedule's been all over the place. What's up, Elephant? How you doing this fine, beautiful, cold morning? We could be the Giants or the Raiders. It's never enough for some. Exactly. We're starved for championships in this city. I get it. But, man, it could be so much worse. How good be Ashton Genetti? I have no idea how good he is. I know what the stats say, but I also have read some things that Chip Kelly held him back. Now he's, 2 weeks without Chip Kelly? So I don't know. I haven't really done a deep dive in the Raiders. I didn't need to know. I know he's the running back for the Raiders. I haven't really done a deep dive on his season yet. I will later in the week. Yeah, the pump man sold out to the corporation. We'll see if the corporation adds in the Ministry of Darkness as well. Not good enough, exactly. Pumped Schwarber's is back, but there's still a lot of work to do. Rumors that they are talking with the Padres. If it's not Tatis or massively paid down Bogarts, I'd rather the Phillies look elsewhere. I think you brought up Tatis a week ago. I never got around to looking at it. I'm going to write it on my notes. Tatis, Padres. It's on my note sheet here. I'll look that up after the show for more information. Look, the Kyle Schwarber contract is a signal that they're still in the win now mode, that they believe that running it back with some tweaks is all they got to do to compete with the Dodgers. I don't know if that's the case. I would have, in this case, made change for change's sake, probably. But I'm also not mad that they're keeping Schwarber. Love him. We're going to get to see him hit his 500th home run in Philadelphia, hopefully. Kyle Schwarber's a great guy, and being a DH, he's not going to deteriorate as quickly. The thing is, when Harper's deteriorating and he stays at DH, that kind of sucks. When Bohm or JT Realmuto, if they're here, need days at DH, you don't got that spot. So I'm not a believer in having a full-time DH on my roster. My preference is to have somebody DH that can also play the field. I'm looking forward to next season. Birds just aren't a very fun watch this year. It's painful at times. Looking forward to the Wizard Howie fixing some issues. Howie needs to have himself an offseason. He's got his plate full. He's got to figure out the coaching ranks, a.k.a. Kevin Patullo. I guarantee you, we lose more assistants like a Christian Parker or Clint Hurt this offseason. And then he's got to rebuild the offensive line, tight end position. Why? He's got so much to do, Rob. Some of it because he had a bad offseason this year. But some of it because the NFL evolves. Teams catch up. When teams catch up to you, you better find a way to pivot. Brock Bowers, all pro, dang, not a single good wide receiver. Yeah, I haven't really done a deep dive on the Raiders. I'll do it later. Once an Eagles fan, always an Eagles fan, win or lose. Absolutely, Robert. Anybody that quits on their team, if I've got anything to have an airing of grievances, it's the fans that quit on their team when the going gets tough. Schwarber better be in the 4-hole. I mean, it's always where I've wanted him. It's always where he should be, Big Al. Good morning to you, by the way. He always should be in the 4-hole. Now, what will the lineup look like next year? Till we see what else they do, whether they get a Marte, whether they trade Bohm or Marsh or Stott, till we know who's here, we can't really figure that out. But yeah, he should be. It should be Harper 3. It should be Schwarber 4. Schwarber gives Harper protection. Now, you better go get Schwarber protection in the 5-hole. But, yeah. Dodgers got Edwin Diaz as their closer. I saw it was like a 3-year, $60 million deal or something. The rich get richer, right, Adam? I'm surprised the Dodgers went out and spent big money on a closer. The way they managed their bullpen in the playoffs, at least against the Phillies, in the World Series. I didn't watch the NLDS, but I watched the World Series. I didn't think they had a bunch of young arms there. I thought they'd go with one of those young guys as their closer. Schwarber will go down as one of my favorite all-time Phillies. Well, 5 more years. That means he'll be here for almost a decade. When it's all said and done, where will he rank on the all-time? I haven't even looked this up. I'll look it up later. Where will Schwarber end up? Where is he now, if someone could look? Where's Kyle Schwarber now on the all-time Phillies home run list, and where will he finish? I mean, he won't get to number 1. Obviously, Mike Schmidt had over 500 in the Phillies uniform. But he's already hit 120, 130, somewhere in that range. How a team that asks every year like Raiders not have a quarterback or a wide receiver? Look, I had expectations for the Raiders to slightly improve because I'm a Geno Smith guy to an extent, but the Chip Kelly situation just didn't work out there. They didn't develop anybody else. And organizations are poorly run. If you watch the 23 National Championship game, Chip game, you know Jesse Minter is a top defensive football mind. Unfortunately, we saw a poor timed offensive calling evolution. What am I missing in that? I don't know who was in the championship chip game. I don't know what you're talking about there. Come on. Yeah, that's right. Like, subscribe, share, guys. More losers talk. We're talking about the Phillies, too, right now, Marshawn, and the Kyle Schwarber deal. I'm trying to get to pointing out some of the good from the Eagles game. Jalix Hunt, Jordan Davis, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. There was good in that football game. There was good on offense, Marshawn. At times, we saw new wrinkles in the offense, and they worked. We saw a taste that they have an idea what needs to be fixed. They just didn't execute. They're like, oh, we finally fixed it, and then Jalen Hurts decided to have his worst game ever. I would hate to lose CP. Christian Parker. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're going to lose at least 2 of Vic Fangio's assistants this offseason. Our linebacker coach, too, Brad, I think his last name's Bradley. I forget. He's another one. What he has done with Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond over the last couple of years. Yeah. Do whatever you need to do to get Marte from the Diamondbacks. I was kind of torn because I prefer to move off from Bohm than Stott. But if you're getting Marte, Stott probably goes back, and you probably keep Bohm. That means then Miller better learn third base, or Turner should. The Marte contract is beautiful. The Marte contract also means that trading for Marte is probably going to cost you Miller or Painter as well. A deal for Marte, we talked about this 2 weeks ago, Rob. It's going to cost you either Andrew Painter or Adam Miller, Bryson Stott, and whoever your 5th or 6th prospect is. It's an expensive trade, but his contract's cheap, and he's a really good player. We are up at 914 subscribers. We had a good day yesterday post-show. So, guys, if you haven't subscribed, like, share, do what we need to do. I actually think Birds win 40-16. If for some reason there's a walk backwards offensively, then my concerns actually begin. Yeah, if you struggle even in the slightest bit against the Raiders, then we got a problem. Definitely got a problem. And I don't want to sound confident because the Eagles haven't given us a reason to be confident. But on paper, this Eagles team is still, at its worst, massively better than the Raiders. But any given Sunday, right? What? I'm just saying my name. Did he not just disappear in the postseason? Who? Marte? Schwarber? Who? Phil, what does 6'7" mean? I have no idea. I'm not a cool kid. Chip Kelly ruined everything. He really does. Chip Kelly is. Yeah, he still gets jobs. What happened to all the Care Bears? I'm caring. See, I even got the circle thing like a Care Bear on my shirt. So I'm just gonna shoot. I don't even know what kind of shirt this is. Can't even tell what brand it is. Maybe it says it on the sleeve. Oh, American Eagle. Yeah. Does American Eagle still exist? I still have an American Eagle hoodie from high school. That's like a long, long time ago. 6 away from 920. We're getting there. Our defense is still lights out. Look, our defense is still playing great. Jalen Hunt, the numbers of Jalen Hunt over the last, I don't know, I have them saved here somewhere. Where are they? In his last 7 games, Jalen Hunt, 4.5 sacks, 13 quarterback hits, 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick six, a forced fumble, 2 pass breakups. Jalen Hunt is developing in front of us as an elite outside edge rusher in the NFL. Developing before our very eyes. Okay? Jordan Davis already has set a career high in snap played. And we've got 4 games left. And he's turning into as good as Jalen Carter, as dominant as Jalen Carter. There are bright spots on this team. The talent is still there. 5 turnovers is not good. And I'm not saying that they're good. I'm saying there were moments in the game on offense where you saw potentially a light switch being flicked. That they're like, oh, we've got some things here to work with. Now they've got a lot of work to do to execute it over the course of 60 minutes. Obviously, Jalen Hurts doesn't have 5 turnovers probably ever again in his career. Jalen Hurts definitely looked like on Sunday like he was in quicksand. Like he made one mistake and then he started forcing it and pressing it and he just started going backwards and sinking faster and faster. Like the domino effect. It just spiraled out of control. Schwarber has 300. I'm looking at just in Philly. I'm looking at how many does he have as a Philly and where he ranks as Philly's history. Yeah, 340. That means 160. Man, all he's got to do is average what? What's that? 160 over 5. That's 30. That's like 32 home runs a year through his contract. And he'll get to 500, if my math is right. So at the end of his career in Philly, we'll be talking 500 home runs. But where's he ranking Philly's history? I will say this, as bad as 2 of those interceptions were, the 3rd and 22 throw over the middle, one of the most encouraging. He made, was that the Devontae Smith one or the Dallas Goedert one, Nooms? Because he made a really great throw over the middle to Dallas Goedert and one to Devontae Smith, both very encouraging. Both were first downs. I think the Devontae Smith one was the longer one. One of the interceptions literally should have been A.J. Brown. Look, the whole game plays out different if A.J. Brown doesn't drop passes and stuff like that. The whole game plays out differently if Jake Elliott makes a field goal, which we got breaking news there. Jaileth giveth and taketh away. Last week, yeah, he did. I said this, did I say this during the live stream or yesterday morning? I said this at some point, Marshawn. If this happens, if the Raiders beat the Eagles on Sunday, whether it's a 1-point game or a 20-point blowout, if the Eagles lose to the Raiders on Sunday, Nick Sirianni's getting fired Monday morning. I'm just telling you. Jeffrey Lurie will not accept that. Someone will be fired immediately. Guarantee it. I wish the Cowboys had a defense like Philly. Nobody has a defense like Houston, Ostweiler. Nobody does. That is arguably, I watched some of the Texans this past week. That is arguably one of the best defenses I've seen in a long, long time. They just fly all over the place. Duck, late to the party. Better late than never. Good morning. Not afraid of the Raiders winning, but I'm afraid of the Eagles losing. That's fair. And if the Eagles lose, heads will roll. Okay? Kellen Marte runs a huge risk of a Roy Hinson type deal. The bias of what someone does against you instead of against everyone else has caught many a GM and owner. I've looked at his numbers. I don't have them up on my screen. I didn't know we were going to talk Marte today, but I've had him up. I've looked at all his numbers. I know he's not a perfect fit, but the dude barely makes he makes chump change for the skill sets that he has in today's Major League Baseball. If you're not looking as John Middleton to add much to the total payroll number, Marte does make sense as a win now type player. I think Nooms himself has mentioned him before. Al has reached the bargaining stage of depression. I don't think we're depressed. I think we're more pissed off than depressed, Marshawn. That would be my guess. After Monday's game, we should never hear should have kept Becton ever again. Wow, was he bad? The whole offensive line of the Chargers was bad. I think we got, 14 quarterback hits on them? Something like that. I almost said Phillip Rivers. On Justin Herbert. Look, I almost was the Eagles defense was great, but I feel like the Eagles defense should have been better on Monday night. You're going up against a quarterback with a broken hand. You let him run all over the place. Instead of 7 sacks, should have had 10 or 12. And I'm not even being sarcastic there. The Eagles defense left a lot of juice on the table. Or a lot of meat on the bone on Monday night even. Y'all kept saying if Jalen had 5 turnovers, he would be getting his ass kicked. Well, welcome to the show. He deserves it. If anybody says that Jalen doesn't deserve criticism for Monday night's performance, then they're the ones with blinders on. He absolutely deserves his ass kicked. He absolutely deserves any criticism he gets. He does not deserve to be benched, though. Phil make 40 the new 60. He wears Nike Monarchs. What? Again, one of those random comments from you that either I'm missing the joke or I don't know what you're talking about. The Smitty throw. Yeah, the Smitty throw was pure anticipation, perfectly made, and proof that Jalen can do it. Okay? I have never doubted that Jalen can make the throws. It's does the offensive play caller trust him? Does he trust everybody? There's a lot of trust issues. Okay? Breaking Jake Elliott news. Did you not hear the breaking Jake Elliott news? Cal Adamitis, the Eagles' long snapper, has been cut or waived. Charlie Hewlett, probably on his way back from injured reserves this week. All right? So here's the numbers. Since Charlie Hewlett went on injured reserves, our former long snapper, when he was with the team, Charlie, the Eagles were 4-0, and Jake Elliott had 0 missed kicks in those first 4 games. Since Cal Adamitis, it sounds like a made-up name, since he took over, the Eagles are 4-5, and Jake Elliott has missed 6 kicks in those 9 games. Jake Elliott's now the 31st ranked kicker in field goal accuracy this year. That's bad. But we've got a new long snapper on the horizon, and that's going to fix Jake Missy Elliott, okay? That's your breaking Jake Elliott news right there. Beautiful laser to AJ. I could not believe how fast, but AJ batted in the air. Was that the interception one? The whole team let Hurts down, Phil. Coat mode. Jalen Hurts let the team down, and the team let Jalen down. Everybody let – how about we phrase this not in a sarcastic joke way, not in a cope way? The Philadelphia Eagles let us fans down. Can we look at it like that? AJ also should have caught that one interception. He should have. He should have. And AJ Brown took credit or blame for 3 of them. Literally in his hands, and he's laughed it up on the sidelines like a kid with a cake. Hey, he had 100 yards receiving, Duck. That was a hospital ball that AJ dropped. Who would take over as head coach if Sirianni got fired this year? I jokingly joked yesterday that Stoutland would, and Scott Loeffler would take over play calling. Dean and Bond did get caught with their eyes in the backfield once or twice. Yeah, Zach Bond is a weird one to me. Zach Bond hasn't been bad this year, but he hasn't been Defensive Player of the Year good. And Nakobe Dean, yeah, he took some bad angles at runners. He was behind. He got caught behind a couple plays. They weren't great. The defense actually could have been better than it was on Monday night. Chargers ran through our D-line like wet toilet paper on the first drive. They absolutely did. I mean, some will argue, well, that's because Jalen Carter's not out there. Ty Robinson had his chance, only was on the field for like 7 snaps, didn't do anything in those opportunities. So Ty Robinson seems like he ain't the answer. Byron Young made a few plays, I'll say that. The defense has a problem with over-pursuit this season. I think it's because Davis has hit his stride and is not pushing guys way back, which didn't happen previously. Maybe. There's definitely the over-pursuit is definitely an issue. Why, I don't know, but it's definitely an issue. Here we are Wednesday, and Phillies is back to stop. You guys have no clue. After the long snapper, the Eagles is ass cuz it is Fox's Pizza Den's fault. The fact that I got to do something. Like I think I might have an extra T-shirt upstairs. I'd do some seance and burn a Fox shirt and burn an Eagles shirt and put it together. And I don't know. I don't know how that stuff works. But I got to figure out some kind of way to break the Fox's Pizza Den curse on the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, that's me. I am not trying to. I'm not going to. But there's got to be something else I can do to break the curse. What would you like me to say about Jalen Hurts, Marshawn? I will say almost anything that you want me to say. You like how I said almost? The interception on the four-man sim by the defensive tackle was a classic smaller height quarterback pick. Hard to see over the tall offensive line. The jerk route wasn't run badly, but I didn't think AJ was as open as he looked. I don't know where you find the time to go back and rewatch all this film. Vaughn has been good. He bit on a few plays he didn't last year. Yeah, he's been good, and that's not bad. We still got great linebacker play overall. But we're not getting elite defensive player of the year, Zach Bond, this year. He also, first half of the year, had to deal with a rookie, John Campbell, and the second half of the year dealing with Nakobe Dean getting back into playing shape. In the Hurts bunker, yeah, I'll be in the bunker with him. Be patient. My Hurts, the Stallion line will come to the rescue. Right. What's up, Bruce? How you doing today? Ty Robinson might be a swing and a miss. He hasn't shown anything. Look, I'm not giving up on him. It took 3 years before Brandon Graham became Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham played a decent amount on Monday night, by the way. Ty Robinson, you can't give up on him. But we were, anointing Ty Robinson because he has a cool nickname, the next coming of Andy Harmon, way too quick. Is it a coincidence, Fred, that I sell my pizza shop and then the Eagles lose 3 straight games in just disastrous fashion? Is it? Is it that much of a shock that we're at, burning something? We might have to. Phil, I feel the Eagles need the leader like Schwarber. Or the Phillies need the leader like Schwarber. I feel the Eagles need the leader of Schwarber is for the Phillies. Do we have a captain problem with the Eagles? I don't know. I got to think about that one, Bruce. Because Schwarber is the leader of the Phillies, but I don't even know what kind of leader he is. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's not a break baseball bats kind of guy. He's just a leader on the field, kind of set the example. I don't know if we have a Schwarber-type leader on the Phillies. It's an interesting question. Fred and the Heezy, Campbell and Makuba have shown glimpses, and we can see a solid future for both those players. Yeah, Mac McWilliams and Ty Robinson not get on the field are a problem. The late round and undrafted free agent offensive lineman didn't develop. What do you call it? Stout, like the beer. BG didn't play badly, but he's old, and you could see it. You could totally see that BG should have stayed retired. That big order was for the Eagles. Now they're hungry for Fox Den. What? Ty Robinson peaks in the wrong direction too often. We'll get better. It's not a physicality thing. Yeah, anybody that's given up on any rookie in their rookie year, any top-end rookie on a defense that's hard to learn their rookie year, that's just waste, right? No need to give up on rookies that quickly. But we did put enormous hype on him, and he's just not living up to it. And he's got opportunities to be needed, and he's not doing it. I think we do have a leader problem. Brandon Graham coming back was the biggest indication of that. Yeah, I definitely think we have a leadership problem. I was trying to answer his question, do we need a Schwarber type? Then it made me think, what is a Schwarber type? So I was really stuck on that comment. But yeah, I think the leadership on defense and on offense is lacking. Know why? I don't know, because most of the captains on the Eagles were captains last year. Did we lose any captains? Darius Slay was a captain. Sweat wasn't a captain. Milton Williams wasn't a captain. Becton wasn't a captain. Rodgers. So all the main names we lost weren't captains. Brandon Graham was the only captain on defense in Slay that we lost. What's up, Chet in the chat? Shameless Philly. We got a huge Philly Press Box Radio tonight. Right here on this channel, 7 p.m. Ray Diddy himself, Ray Didinger, the godfather of football beyond, and Phillies Nation founder Brian Mitchell. You got to listen in tonight, 7 p.m. here for the great Diddy, Ray Didinger. That's pretty awesome tonight. Good luck with that, Chet. I know I'll tune in. Ty Hutchinson was not a liability for the Flyers last night. Didn't watch the Flyers. The wife dragged me to a township board meeting for the approval of our latest township budget. And then I had a meeting on a Zoom call. And then I went to bed. I was in bed by 9:30 last night. No Flyers game for me. I mean, I feel the Eagles have some coaches that try to be leaders, but no players who make sure everyone does what they need to do. I get it. I know what you're saying. And I don't know the answer, though. That's the problem. For once, you got me stumped, Bruce. Never thought of a leadership problem and why. I'm going to put it out to the Twitterverse and maybe make more of it. I don't know. Is there someone on this Eagles team that can step up? Or do the ones that are already anointed captains need to do more? Jazzy Jeff Stoutland, yeah. By the way, back to this. Isn't A.J. Brown a captain? That was rhetorical. He is. Shouldn't A.J. Brown, like the way A.J. Brown spoke after the game on Monday, that was the way a leader spoke or speaks. And he doesn't do that often enough. Did A.J. Brown's leadership style of cryptic tweets and making sarcastic comments to the media, did that do more harm than we realize? Maybe young guys winning rings early in their career isn't a good thing. If winning one ring makes you lose your hunger, then get off my team. That's how I would feel about it. Like if I found out that this was true, Elephant, then that's what I would say to them. We have some complainers, but no player who is in charge. And I feel if we could have someone like Schwarber, then the Eagles can win the Super Bowl. That's a fair thought process. I don't know who that is. Someone needs to step up and hold everybody else accountable. BG finally has his legs back. That was the first time I thought he looked NFL-ish. And that's fine. He's still old. Why don't we pick the best of the practice squad O-line player and give them playing time? We might just need fresh legs. And they need to see, we should have been doing that earlier. Nims and I have been saying that since week 1 with Landon Dickerson's knee surgery. Landon, Cam, and Lane have been at 70% max all year. Get them rest. Get them healthy. But unfortunately, now that you can't, they have to play at 70% because you're fighting for your playoff lives now. What about the ultimate leader? Why are we not talking about quarterback one's leadership? We can. Has his leadership suffered? My question is, and this is a serious question and a serious comment. Leaders have, just like an athlete has to evolve, a pitcher has to evolve their repertoire. A defense has to evolve and hide things. An offense needs to disguise plays at work, whatever. Don't leaders have to adjust too? The way Jalen Hurts led us to the Super Bowl last year, not working this year. So while he's got to learn not to throw those 4 interceptions, doesn't he got to learn to be a better leader? He always talks about putting the work in. The mini bye week last week, I went back and looked at film from the last 5 years to be better. Maybe it's the play that he doesn't need to improve upon. Maybe it's his leadership style. Every year is a different year. We've been saying that for a lot of reasons. Every year you've got to lead differently. And maybe that's where Jalen's downfall has come this year. When A.J. Brown was getting out of hand, he didn't Maybe he needed a backhand. Maybe he needed to be pulled aside more firmly. If I've got a criticism on Jalen, maybe it's not his performance on the field. It's his leadership on and off the field that needs work. I think BG gets his first sack this week. Got 7 last week. Let's go for 8 this week total. No, no political career for me. I could care less about that stuff. But my wife is taking an interest, which is good. It's cool. I'm glad she is. And our township is a fucking shit show. If I had an ounce of knowledge, I would have stood up and shouted out a lot of stuff last night. Is Phil going to no chance in hell. Not at all. I think the weight of being the champs is weighing on the Eagles. The weight of being the champs, I don't think, Steve, and good morning to you. I think the wear and tear of last season is catching up to the Eagles. No. Not a chance. Can you imagine me in a debate with a presidential candidate, a presidential debate, and I get asked a question, and I'll just say, go Birds. Actually, I'll win the state of Pennsylvania like that, because the answer to every question would be, go Birds, or bubbles up. Like, could you imagine me trying to debate politics? I know more about politics than you guys realize, but I keep it off this show. Can you imagine me dropping F-bombs on podiums? Saying that's a dumb idea. I say everybody's opinion matters, and then I shoot down your opinions. Remember when Hurts, Smitty, and Barkley had their parking lot conference? AJ wasn't mentioned. No, AJ. It wasn't Smitty. It was Hurts, AJ, and Barkley. Yeah, you got it wrong. AJ was in. It was AJ, Hurts, and Barkley. Did Big Dom to run the locker room? You know, I was thinking yesterday. I couldn't find a good clip of it. But if you know The Sopranos, that positive bunny, Big Dom, better Artie Bucco, the big bunny, the big bad bunny. And if you don't know what Artie Bucco did to the bunny, just Google it after the show. It's a Sopranos reference. But that positive bunny better be out of that locker room already. Marcus Epps, I said it when I recorded the check down that dropped this morning, the Eagles check down. Massively impressed. Let's think about Marcus Epps' play for a second. Marcus Epps is past his prime. Marcus Epps was cut and brought to Philly early this year. Marcus Epps basically played on special teams for a couple games and then went on IR. Marcus Epps hasn't had significant snaps since like week 2 of the NFL season, and even that, he wasn't that good. He was bad enough to get cut by his former team. Marcus Epps went out there on Monday night and was all over the field. Okay? Marcus Epps made tackles, made plays, had a little bit of youthful energy to him. The kids would be high on pizza and cheesesteaks and not make weight. Okay. It's the Italian Nona in him. You feel the problem, so the kids will listen. Gotcha. Maybe he had a fight with his wife. Getting married never's good. Hurts got married, and married and engaged are two different things. You have to give your partner the time they need for a happy family. Fiance, you can ignore them when you need to work. Getting married ruined Jalen Hurts. I feel Hurts can't be the leader, as I feel he panics a lot and makes many mistakes, and he looks sad on the sideline, so other players look. And this is a common misconception. Looks sad. He's a leader. He is. He doesn't make mistakes. I mean, he made a lot of mistakes this week, but that was very uncharacteristic of him, that level of mistakes. Can't believe I'm saying this, but the Flyers may actually be good enough to win one playoff series. Damn. Are you trying to rope me in? Are you roping me in on the Flyers? Don't put expectations on the Flyers. Don't put expectations for me to care about the Flyers. Wait, is Hurts the first quarterback to get married? No, he is not the first quarterback to get married. Not in the least bit, but some would make you think so. Some would make you think that that's a big deal. Between Bubbles Up and Go Birds, you win the Boomers and the NA. NE, what? Well, thank you. I am honest. And that's why I wouldn't be president or a good president. I'm too honest, Bruce. You see my nice, friendly person out here. I got an asshole persona, too. No, but most seems to go down on the first year of marriage, yeah. What the F is Bubbles Up? It's a Jimmy Buffett song. It was my last tattoo I got. I can't turn my arm around for you to see it, I guess, the right way. Where is it? There it is. There we go. I'm trying to twist my arm around. Bubbles Up was the last Jimmy Buffett song released the day after he passed away. It was the last single he recorded. Bubbles Up is if you know Jimmy Buffett, he writes a lot about nautical stuff and all. It's a nautical term, technically, bubbles up. If your boat capsizes and you can't figure out which way is the surface is up, you follow the bubbles to the surface. And then people have translated bubbles up as a metaphor into mental health. That everything you could rise to the top with the bubbles and overcome your issues, mentally or physically. And it means a lot to me, the song. The lyrics in the song are very deep. And as soon as that song got released and he passed away, I went out and got my Bubbles Up tattoo immediately. So that's what it is. Bubbles Up just means have a great day. And if you're not having a great day, find a way to rise above to the top and have a great day. That's what it means. Yeah, it's a Jimmy Buffett song. But there's a lot more to it than it's just a Jimmy Buffett song. Phil, is it presidential to yell, stop? Dude, I would so do that. I would wear a shirt that said stop on the podium. Somebody would be talking. I have a suit coat on, and I rip the suit coat open, and it would just say, stop. Could you imagine me doing that to Donald Trump? Stop. Why is Schwarber considered the leader? If he is, why is he considered a good leader? The Phillies are an undisciplined team, just like the Eagles. Perfectly great comment here, Relaunch. I almost thought this was ducked because of the blue. Great question. Great comment. Although you phrased this as a question, I really think you mean this rhetorically as a statement more than anything else. And this here, Relaunch, is why, while I'm happy that Schwarber is back, I'm also not happy that we're just running it back. We might make a couple tweaks. I would have been fine if Schwarber walked and they went a different direction. Because what good has Rob Thomson, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, what have they done the last 4 years? Win a lot of regular season games and fail when it matters most. Change for change's sake doesn't always work. But change, after 4 years of seeing it not work, sometimes is needed. Perhaps it's the Major League 2 effect that is dragging this team down. Success maybe made them complacent and civilized. Hurts is Ricky Vaughn, distracted by models. I mean, you might be right. You might be right. Is Hurts Ricky Vaughn? Or is he somebody else on that team? He might be Ricky Vaughn. But they figured it out in the end, right? They found a way to make it to the playoffs in the end. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what's going to be their spark. Everyone forgets he took 2 semesters of political science before moving. I don't think I took any semesters of political science, to be brutally honest with you. My major changed so many damn times before I settled. That's pretty cool. To me, it's an important song. Things I don't get. Jimmy Buffett, Dave Matthews voting for Pedro. Jimmy Buffett's a special breed. Dave Matthews, I used to be a Dave Matthews guy. Big time. I don't know what voting for Pedro means. I probably been to more Dave Matthews concerts than all the other concerts I've seen combined. Probably been to at least 15 Dave Matthews concerts. When I was in high school and college, he'd come to Philly 3 times a year, 4 shows. I was at every one of them. Just jamming out on the lawn at whatever it was called at the time. The Tweeter Center, the Blockbuster Entertainment Center, whatever else it had name-wise. Come to think of it, that would also make Brandon Graham, Roger Dorn, who comes out of retirement and has a good... That works. That works. If you don't know which way is up, Give it up. It's over. Yeah, that's true. I get Dave Matthews. It's quite simple. People like to go to concerts and get high. Basically, that is what Dave Matthews is. And listening to him jam out while you are is pretty awesome. You go to a 2.5-hour Dave Matthews concert, you might hear 6 songs. Eagles were an undisciplined team last year. Defense is still disciplined, but the offense doesn't seem to be on the same page. Is that discipline? Is that leadership? Is that execution? Is that injury? It's all it is. It's not most concerts. I've been to plenty of concerts. Billy Joel concerts aren't get high and just listen to them jam out. Probably seen Billy Joel 6 times, 7 times. Dave Matthews music makes me crash into a, yeah. Does now. I mean, I used to be big. I kind of may have overdone it. I'm not confirming nor denying anything. Okay. No, it's not. I don't get any of those either, but I don't have a yacht and not had anxiety. Yeah. I don't. I don't know what vote for Pedro means. I don't. No, Billy Joel concerts are get drunk and sing Piano Man. Exactly. There's a difference between getting high at a concert and getting drunk at a concert. Let's see. I've seen Billy Joel 3 or 4 times solo, and then I saw him 3 times with Elton John as a duo. So that would mean that I've seen him 6 or 7 times, Billy Joel. I've seen a lot of concerts. I've been to a lot of Y100 festivals for the non-locals like TMC. You don't know what that is. It was just a festival back in the day. MMRBQs, couple. What was the Q102 summer concert? Used to go to that a couple times. I've seen a lot of bands and concerts. A lot. But Dave Matthews 1, Billy Joel 2. And as much as I love Jimmy Buffett, I only saw him twice. Only twice. And the first time, I didn't like it. Took me going to a concert of Jimmy Buffett to become a Jimmy Buffett fan. Anyway, we're past the top of the hour. It's 9:02 in the morning. This is Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. Like, subscribe, share. Last I checked, we only got 13 likes on this video, guys. Guys, hit the buttons. We're talking the Eagles, searching for answers, and the Phillies extending Kyle Schwarber. What is next for the Phillies? Rumors have it there is an offer on the table for JT Realmuto. He has not chosen to accept or decline it yet. So that's on the table. Obviously, Rob Thomson was extended through 27. No big deal there. You're not going to have your manager go into the season on a lame duck contract. I get that. Don Mattingly, rumored to expected to be added to the coaching staff today or tomorrow. Phillies are being busy during the winter meetings. Music has to be good, high, and sober. And most of it is. I used to go to Ozfest each year. We don't have any room to talk. Yeah, I've never been to an Ozfest. I've never been to a metal. I've seen metal bands in concert, but I've never been to a metal, fest. I was across the board with my concerts. Billy Joe to Stone Temple Pilots. Oh, me too. I mean, I've been to, I can't even think of all the different names I've seen. I've seen the Cherry Poppin' Daddies. I've seen Foo Fighters. I've seen Willie Nelson. I've seen Sheryl Crow. Seen Reba McEntire. Seen them all. Phil had to be a big shot, didn't ya? Had to prove it to the crowd. Mattingly, this team is so Yankee. Yeah. Look, I don't love the idea of Don Mattingly. To me, the idea of Don Mattingly, the Phillies bench coach, is very, very simple. It's Rob Thomson wants an easy way out. And Rob Thomson, when the going gets tough, will say it's time to retire, and I'm turning the keys. Don Mattingly as our bench coach means Don Mattingly is our next manager. Plain and simple, whether it's mid-season or after the next season ends. It's basically what it means. It means that Dave Dombrowski and John Middleton went to Rob Thomson. If we've got the same problems next year, you're done. And this is the guy that's going to take over. The Metal Fest in Chester was nuts, 3 days long. Never went to that. I'm jealous how talented Billy Joel is. So am I. What's the Don Mattingly and the Yankees thing? Confident what? Is there to take over when Thomson. I firmly, he's not there yet. Don Mattingly has not signed a contract yet. I want to be very upfront and honest there. He is not, okay? But he could. He could be. People putting out lineups for the Phillies. Did anything else break? No. That doesn't have anybody new on it, so no. Just refreshing Twitter here to see if any news broke on Mattingly, on the Phillies, or anything. But no, not yet. What lighting does my studio use? The ceiling light? Why? What's wrong with the lighting that I use? Mattingly will sign a contract because he knows he will get the skipper position sooner than later. Probably. Don Mattingly does probably want to coach more. Don Mattingly, I got to go through Don Mattingly's numbers as a manager. It's been a while since he's been good, to be honest with you. Phil, did you smoke any of that Willie Nelson? What? No. Willie Nelson was terrible when I saw him in concert, by the way. Topper must be completely okay with Don Mattingly if it happens. Just seems very awkward for your heir apparent to be sitting right there. Absolutely correct, Nooms. It's got to be awkward. And maybe that's the pressure that's needed. What, is this a background or a room? This is my basement. I don't have like a green screen or nothing like that. No. This is my basement and all my pictures and things I own. That's all that is. That's truly authentic back there. There's nothing fake about what's behind me on this wall. Not at all. It's the real deal Holyfield back there. All nickel and dime things, too. Nothing expensive back there. I don't buy fancy memorabilia or anything like that. I did love when they brought Charlie Manuel to advise. Yeah, I remember that. And he was only going to travel with the team on home games. It was only going to be with the team on home games, not the road games. Yeah. I still stand by. I thought Jimmy Rollins would be a good bench coach and maybe a good interim coach if they had to move on. I would have liked that. But Don Mattingly, I don't know how Don Mattingly has done over the last couple of times he's coached. Where are we at with the poll question? Are you happy with the Schwarber contract? Absolutely hyped. 33%. No. Should have let him walk. 11%. Yes. Wish it was 4 years, though. 22%. Who cares? Philly sucks. Tied for the lead at 33%. Wow. People really don't like the Phillies on the poll question. It's pretty good for no studio lights. I have one light. Big Al sent it to me. And I used it. But the LED, I couldn't find a good spot that it actually worked. And if I put it looked good for you guys anywhere in front of me. But behind me, it didn't work well. But in front of me, it also hurt my eyes. Always thought Jimmy Rollins would talk too much to be a manager. I don't know. He was either the USA manager for Team USA or the Olympics or something like that, or is going to be. I don't know if Jimmy Rollins has intentions of wanting to be an MLB manager or not. But I think he's got the talent and the skill set. He obviously loves still being around baseball. He talks too much, right? But Charlie Manuel, just like Charlie Manuel, Charlie Manuel brought us a World Series championship. So I don't know. Give it a month. When the Eagles get spanked in the first round of the playoffs, we'll start counting the days until pitchers and catchers report and be glad that Schwarber's there. Yeah, look, again, I don't want to sound like I'm not excited that Schwarber's back. I am ecstatic, Freddie, that Kyle Schwarber is going to be here in Philly. It's going to be fun watching him ascend to 400 then 500 home runs in his career. Hell, he's got an outside shot to hit 60 this year and get to it, right? But I'm also wouldn't have been upset if he walked. Kyle Schwarber's one of those players that you love him, but you're also like, whatever. Like if he didn't stick around, okay. I would have been okay with what's next, even if what's next didn't work. Kyle Schwarber's a great player. He could single-handedly carry your team offensively for a week. He can also single-handedly tank your offense for a week. Cam's calling out coaches now. Has he run out of bad things to say about Jalen Hurts? I'm assuming you're talking about Cam Newton. AC. Guys, make sure you've liked, you subscribed, you shared. I think we only got like 13 likes in the video today. Not good enough, by the way. Yeah, still only 13 likes today. Hit those buttons, guys. Look. Should be fun during the dog days to maybe see some nice wins, but we run the bases or defend any better. Seriously, that was the difference. So, look, I get it. And I've been very honest and open that the Phillies needed to make change, even if it's just for change's sake. Again, insanity, doing the same thing over again, expecting different results. And that's what they're doing. They're doing the same thing again. Now, we're only into the second or third day of the winter meetings. It's a long off season. We still got 6 weeks. Man, that's probably all. 6 weeks till pitchers and catchers report. 8 weeks. Actually, not that early in the offseason, maybe. There's still lots of time for the Phillies to make changes to this team. The problem is when you sign Kyle Schwarber to $550 and you don't want to spend more than you have, really limits what you can do, especially when Nick Castellanos has to be cut because you can't trade him. So you're paying Casty's $25 million or whatever to go away. Was calling for small ball plays during the season, even when they were winning. Yeah. We can't run the bases better and defend better, then you can kiss it all goodbye. Miller and Crawford improve that. Miller ain't coming up. If Miller's on this team week 1, day 1, game 1, whatever, that means somebody else got hurt or something crazy happened. There's no way, in my opinion, that Adam Miller even sniffs the bigs till maybe September. They're playing the long game with Adam Miller. Why? Because that's what the Phillies do. Or maybe they're smarter than us. I don't know. You could see the problem happening, just like the Eagles. Parallels. I like what you did there, Doc. You might have come into the show 30 minutes late today, but you know what? You came in strong. You came in with a vengeance. I love it. I love it. That's what we do here. Miller ain't coming up on this team. He's not. In fact, they probably would include him in the Ketel Marte trade. Eagles are actually doing some evolution, but the parallel lines must be called out. Yeah, we're just making jokes, but, you know, jokes for joke's sake. Because why not? Why not make those jokes, right? Oh, boy. This has been an interesting one. I actually got a good night's sleep, and it's a quiet show today. I think the Philadelphia fan base is actually tired of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the fan base is tired of it. Dante Nori had a very nice fall. I don't even know. I mean, I've heard the name once or twice mentioned, but I don't know enough there at all. Painter would have to be in the Marte trade because they're looking for starting pitching. Yeah. The Phillies are very reluctant to trade Painter. Whether that's good or bad, elephant, I don't know. But what I do know is that a Marte trade would involve one of the top three, Painter, Crawford, Miller. It would include Stott. And then it would include somebody else, maybe Nori. It's going to take three players, one MLB player, one MLB ready player, and then somebody else. And the Diamondbacks, if they really truly want to move Marte, and Phillies are an option, they have every right, based off of his skill set and based off of his contract, have every right to ask for the world for Marte. They do. And a team will probably have to pay a premium to get him. Do I think Marte would be a great trade for the Phillies? Not necessarily. Would I be happy that Dave Dombrowski took finally a major swing? Absolutely. Even if it's expensive. The Phillies need something different. Not 100% sure they would even want Painter with other options out there. Seattle could offer Miller or Wu, who already have MLB success. Yeah, that's fair as well. We're not the only team in on them at all. Does anyone think Nola will get back to form this year? I have my fingers crossed. You better hope he gets back to form because you still got 5 more years on that enormous monstrosity of a contract. If Aaron Nola doesn't get back to form, his contract is going to be worse off probably than Joel Embiid and Paul George contracts. But realistically speaking, yes, I think Aaron Nola gets back to form. I really do. Aaron Nola showed glimpses of it late in the season last year. Aaron Nola has had some down years, and he's always bounced back very, very well from his down years. He's very similar to Cole Hamels in that sense. Cole Hamels had a couple down years here and there by his standards and then bounced back. You got to think Aaron Nola, he's not a power pitcher. He's a finesse pitcher, can find a way to bounce back. I really, truly think so. Stott Bohm's cost is ideal for the team, like it or not. I agree. 100%. Stott's even cheaper than Bohm at this point. That's why I'd probably prefer to move off of Bohm if you've got to move one. But again, because of that, because they're tight on the budget, we're probably running most of these guys back. I'm glad AJ Hurts are friends, or AJ and Hurts are friends. That tells me coach change won't be the worst thing. Yeah, I didn't watch Hard Knocks last night. I'll watch it later today instead. I'll have comments on Hard Knocks tomorrow. But I did see the 10-second clip of them smiling and laughing together on the sideline during the practice. I could give 2 rats' ass, EC, if they're friends or not. All I want is them to execute to perfection on the field. Turner, Schwarber, JT, Harp, Nola, all at 37 should be quite the albatross site. My God. They better, Nooms, win a World Series. And real soon. This year, next year, that's it. Because, yeah. And that's another thing with the Schwarber deal. You got another guy. Hey, if you trade for Marte, his contract runs through his. You might as well trade for Marte. He'll be 38 at the end of his deal. It's not good. It's going to be the AARP team in a couple years. Older than most, stop complaining about the Eagles. 61, been Eagles fan since the late 70s. The Eagles were real bad. When nobody's, I mean, we're complaining. I think we're right to complain. It's right. It's okay to be a fan and want to see your team do better. But they might be. The Eagles might be the Wheeze kids. And then the Phillies in 2 or 3 years will be the Wheeze kids. They smiling because Nick getting fired, going to get a head coach. Lori Howie was giving Nick talking. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I'll get to Hard Knocks later today after this show, do some clips. Maybe go DoorDash and make a few bucks. And then we'll see. We'll see what the rest of this week brings. No one thinks we are sliding back into the Kotite years. No one thinks that. No one does. Guys, we're all of a sudden a bunch of people jumping in. We're talking Eagles. We're talking Phillies. Guys, like and subscribe. You know, most viewers we've had since about the first half hour of the show today. So make sure you're hitting those like buttons. Vote on the poll question. Give me your thoughts and opinions. Do not hesitate to drop those comments. Yeah, we're not going all the way back to the Kotite years. It's not that bad. Is it that bad? No, it's not that bad. It can't be that bad. It's not that bad. It's not. It's definitely not Rich Kotite era bad. I might be in the minority, but I think Bryce Harper still has a 40 home run season in him. If he doesn't get suspended for blood doping or whatever the hell he's doing. We're learning a lot about that stuff right now. I still think Bryce Harper has the potential to go on an MVP caliber run. I also would be 100% okay if the Phillies convinced him to take a trade and leave town. Yeah, I said it. I'm a huge Bryce Harper fan. Love the guy. But the Phillies need something different. If he's not going to be a 40 home run MVP guy, I'd be okay moving on. Topper was way too happy-go-lucky in his presser yesterday. Doesn't he know that the team is big booty cheeks? They won, Mister. Didn't you know Topper won 97 games last year? Because that's all that matters. The Phillies fans with blinders on will say, we just ran into the Dodgers. What do you want them to do about it? Oh, shucks, darn. Well, it goes from 8-2 to 8-9, which I don't think it will. Would just, yeah, look, it would be very co-type-esque for sure. 7-2 to 7, was 7-2 to 7-9, right? That was such a bad. That was my first real. What year was that? Was that 93? The 7-2 to 7-9 year, whatever year that was. Like I started watching Eagles football when I was like 1986, 87, 6, 7 years old. But I really started understanding football when I got to like that 12, 13-year-old range. And that was probably, 93? So that would put me at 13 years old. That was the first time I really, truly understood. Like, I was at that point where I was understanding the game, the business of building a team. I had a better understanding of football. That was my first real disappointment for the Eagles. Everything we were seeing with the Eagles is fixable. Yeah. Hart now trying to mimic Tom Brady's diet since he wants to play till he's 45. Dude better alter his swing if he wants to last that long. That's true. 94. So I would have turned 14 at the end of that season. When the disappointment was happening, I would have turned 14. So yeah, my first heartbreak was in my teenage years. Pull back on those reins. Phillies are not cheeks. They need to get younger in tune to try and get further along in the playoffs. They're not cheeks, but they're not good. We made Steve Young get benched and everyone had us in the Super Bowl. I remember that was my first time of seeing a Super Bowl or a championship team collapse. Like, I couldn't put the Phillies in that from 93. I understood, but it was a different situation. The earlier years under Ryan and Kotite, I was a little younger and didn't fully understand what was happening. When I was watching the Fog Bowl, I didn't understand what was happening. When I watched Bryce Pop Cunningham, I sort of understood what was happening. But that was my first. That Kotite collapse there was my first big collapse in my life. I mean, again, I would have turned 14. My birthday's mid-December, late in that season. Just an interesting one. Definitely an interesting one there. Do we remember the 101 season and what the biggest factor was in moving to 81 years the next year? It was something called age. If my memory is working, I would say it had something to do with age. Fogball was just stupid. They should have never continued that game. No, not at all. Obviously, not at all. Again, my memory doesn't serve me. What was that, 89, the Fog Bowl? 90, the Fog Bowl? Something like that? I don't remember. You guys know me with years. I don't remember years very well. That's why I love your show. Not afraid to say big booty cheeks. Why would I be afraid to say big booty cheeks? Tell all your friends, mister. I'll say big booty cheeks 5 times fast. I'll say almost anything. I'll say anything to get a like. I'll say anything to get a click. 90 playoffs was versus Skins. Bye-bye, buddy. Yeah, anyway. Let's not think about those bad years. We got enough bad years going on now. We got enough finger pointing going on right now. We don't got to do it even more. Anyway. What's on tap the rest of the day? What's on tap the rest of the week? We don't know. Will there be anything else news-wise today? Maybe. Here's a quote on WIP radio. I guess Nick Sirianni was on their morning show today on the possibility of a change at quarterback. I think that's ridiculous. Anybody that says you need to make a change at quarterback, that is ridiculous. And I agree with it. Y'all heard it. Phil is wild. You all heard it. Phil is will to do. So I won't say everything. Anyway, I can't wait to go listen to that quote from Nick Sirianni in full because, yeah. Gregory Soto signed a deal with the Pirates. They won at Kyle Schwarber. They got Gregory Soto. Well, that's always good. Anyway, you know what? We're going to call it. We're going to wrap this baby up. I think I gave you guys too much of me the last couple days. So I guess I deserve a few minutes off today. Maybe if there's breaking news, I'll go live again later today. But I doubt it. I don't think anything major will happen today other than a JT Realmuto signing. The game is evolving faster these days. It is. Well, I certainly wouldn't start Tanner McKee for a game. However, if Jalen keeps playing like beans, why wouldn't it be out of the question to send Tanner in for relief? Because it causes more harm than good, Freddie. Sirianni is still coming off as so tone deaf. Why? Because you want him to say that they're going to bench Jalen Hurts? All I know is Philly goes nuclear if the Eagles lose to the Raiders. Oh, that's fine. And I'm going to go nuclear if they do. Okay? I'm trying to get my nephew to come on Sunday for the watch party. My little nephew. Set up in my bar on the other side of the basement. That's what I'm trying to do. We'll see. But I might, if there's even a 1% chance that we lose to the Raiders, I might not want to have him over. Because I don't think I need to scare my 9-year-old nephew into never wanting to see me again. Because if they lose, it's going to be bad. But because I want to see Tanner McKee, but because we clinched. Yeah. That's the only reason why I want to. That's it. No other reason to do it. Anyway, we're going to wrap this baby up here. If any Phillies news breaks, I'll go live later in the day. Make sure you stay tuned. What is worse than nuclear? That's what happens if Dallas wins the division. Supernova, yeah, probably. It might say Scarilla is from Philly. Who? What? Why? When? I don't know what that means. Not a single clue what that is. At all. Anyway, it was a great show. It's been a fun couple weeks here. Feel like we're having some good stuff. I got some things on the docket. I got some things I'm working on, some ideas to continue to add even more content to the channel. I'm working on it. But anyway, with that being said, we're going to wrap this baby up. If there's any breaking news today, I will go live. If not, you can check out the Eagles check down later tonight. And, yeah. And for the golf fans, Siwoo Kim is going to live. I should do a breaking news. Siwoo Kim heads to live for a Fairway to Heaven breaking news. Good. Yeah, we don't have to see the Sixers for a few more days still. Still got like 2 more days with no Sixers. Damn NBA Cup. Anyway, guys, everybody have a great day. We'll talk later. Go Birds. Bubbles up.